Hello, this is Pamela, the Divorce Mystic. I'm an over 25-year intuitive divorce attorney, mediator, and coach who's integrated a spiritual practice into my business. And today, we're moving forward with the Chakra and Divorce Series, 2-part 6, the Third Eye Chakra. The Third Eye Chakra is located in the center of our forehead between our brows, associated with the color indigo and the element of light. The Third Eye Chakra is our center of insight, our inner vision. It is our inner knowing. It's the place that gives us our ability to see higher truths so that we can come from a place of clarity and truly be self-reflective and have self-responsibility. It's a place that governs, when we're healthy, our tolerance of others and our ability to understand another's point of view. It allows us to trust our inner wisdom, or be guided by our inner wisdom, and have a sense of peace with that. It also allows us to have a healthy imagination. When we're imbalanced in our third eye, we have an inability to perceive far beyond what our physical eyes can see. We only see what our ego allows us to see in front of us. And so therefore we can become intolerant of others. We have a lack of understanding for others. We have we could be very judgmental. We can become extremely stuck in one position or the other. This is where a lot of people talk about the dogma of religions, where you just get stuck. My way or the highway. So in a divorce situation where there is a need to collaborate, and come to settlement agreements, if people are trying to avoid the court system and avoid having a judge make determinations for them, when there is a imbalance in the third eye chakra, that's when we hear the positions over interests. We hear the complete lack of understanding or ability to try to understand, to see another's point of view, to engage in an interest-based discussion. The intolerance level is high. It's accusatory. It is, the he said, she said. It's the blame game. It's just the inability to become unstuck. And it does not behoove either party in a situation of divorce where one is stuck or both parties are stuck. It doesn't behoove you to stay there long. Why? Because it's costly in terms of what you're paying your counsel, your attorneys, and any other professionals that may be included in your case or involved, on yourself, the emotional toll, your children, your family. It's critical that all the chakras are aligned. But in this case, our third eye, we want to be able to see beyond what our physical human self is saying at the moment when we're sitting at a settlement table. We want to be able to go beyond, again, what the physical eyes can see and feel those subtle changes in energy when something actually is in our favor, although the physical expression of it doesn't sound like it. But our energy says, yes, that's good. Go for it. Do it, right? Our inner wisdom, being able to allow that wisdom, our higher self, to guide us, and our other, chosen source of information, when we're dealing from a higher place and a higher truth, we allow that to come in. That subtle shift in energy sometimes can make or break an agreement. Or parties I've seen who can be very, very close to an agreement, there's a little subtle shift, and rather than take a break, they push on, and you can see one block at a time the settlement that has been reached, one block at a time, in this case one word at a time, and when you break it down to slow motion, one letter at a time, it breaks apart the cohesiveness of where they find themselves in terms of that agreement, the energy that's in the space that they're in. It just puts them back at zero. And so the most important piece of a settlement discussion is not just the discussion itself. It's the ability to read the room. It's the ability to read the energy of others and to see where you fit in all of that. Because if you are in a place where you're experiencing an imbalanced third eye and you can't see beyond the wood or the glass or the marble, whatever's in front of you, table or the wall, you can't see far beyond that because everything sounds like the Charlie Brown wah, wah, that happens. And it does take somebody to understand that subtle shift to be able to know that you're out of alignment. So if you don't have an attorney that's with you, as an example, that's on your side, although it's a collaborative case or it's a negotiation, you're trying to do it amicably. If you don't have somebody that's on your side who is energetically attuned to you so that they can feel the subtle shifts and read the rest of the room energetically, then you're going to have to be able to do that for yourself. So it is going to behoove you to be clear in terms of how are you feeling, what is going on in your body. Close your eyes and just picture that color indigo, just like we did in the other chakra with the other chakras. How deep is that indigo? Can I make it deeper? When I think of my higher truth, is it distorted? Am I sitting in truth, or am I somehow diluted? And I want to give you an example of what that could look like from a practical standpoint. There is a marital house in our hypothetical, and there's just not enough money or assets in the marital pot for one party or the other to keep the marital residence for themselves moving forward. But they're so entrenched in that position that they must have the house. They cannot see anything else except their desire and their need to remain in the house. That is not only going to close the door to any further option gathering, it is going to make that person who's in that position feel heavier and heavier and heavier. Because when we're dealing from a place, think of it as sitting in the chair in your human body, right? Wearing your human shoes. We're pretty dense, we're pretty heavy. But when we allow ourselves to move beyond that density and speak from a place of our higher self, where we're actually elevating our energy to a point where we can match it with our higher self or our guides, again, our trusted source of knowledge, whoever that or whatever that is for you, so that you can feel that. What is my behavior? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling so heavy? And just something like that little subtle shift of, oh, that doesn't feel good. I must be doing something wrong myself. And look at it as I'm not taking responsibility for my own energy, my own health. Stop the meeting if you're in one, or stop the discussion if you're at the kitchen table with your spouse having a settlement discussion on something. Get up and walk around. Take a break. Realign yourself. Figure out what it is that's going to be good for you to make sure that you're in complete alignment going forward. Because if you stay in a position and you're stuck and you don't know it, it just gets harder and harder to find that place of clarity, to be able to make those decisions with clarity, because you're not there. You're in your earthly shoes. And that's the only way I can say it that it makes sense. You're in your earthly shoes entirely, and you're not allowing your higher wisdom to come through, your creativity, your imagination, because when our third eye chakra is clear, we have a great imagination. We can see. So we can not only see what's happening in the room, but we can also close our eyes and visualize our future, looking forward, looking outward. What would this look like if I played this particular idea out 5 years? So I take everything that I have and I keep this house. Let's use that same hypothetical asset. I keep this house as my own, and so everything else that I have and a lot of money every month has to go to my spouse in order for me to make this happen, and it's equitable and fair for everyone else, or for the agreement to make sense, and for my spouse to, right, the spouse to accept it. It takes everything I have to do this. So what's lacking there? If I have a higher vision, I can see, it's not really going to give me what I need in terms of other assets. It's not going to give me what I need to keep that home filled. It's not going to give me what I need in terms of income or other income to create that life on my own, with my own income, if there's children, to facilitate a parenting plan. Yes, I'll have the house, but what else will I have? There's lots of things that go into living that idea or that option forward. Right? The reality testing of a settlement term is something that very many people spend any time doing. It's just, yeah, that sounds good. Or they want it so bad. They don't know why. They want it so bad. It's ingrained. It's there. It's powerful. They've got to win it, whatever it is. And then they realize later, I don't know why I fought for this, because I really don't want it. It was just on principle. It was something that was back there that happened, sometime during the marriage. It could have been that party didn't want the house at all, or a lot of things happen in order to get that house. We're sticking with our asset being the house. Something happened, and a lot of emotions are around that specific asset. And so it's always going to trigger something. If we're sitting, again, at a settlement table in our human shoes only, then that density, those emotions, is going to be what fills the room. But if we allow ourselves to take a break and come back fresh after some bit of meditation, walk around the building or the block, whatever it is for you that again aligns you. Nobody's process is going to work better for you than one that you design yourself. And that's why I've said in every video dealing with these chakras and your alignment with them is to develop your own system. We're now at 6, so we started at the root. Going through each one is not going to take a long time once you get used to it and know what you feel. So what does it feel like to balance that root? What does it feel like to make sure that your sacral chakra is aligned, and your solar plexus and your heart, right? If nothing else, ask your heart, because that will govern a lot of answers for you. How am I aligned? Can I go forward with this meeting? Is it in my best interest to keep this house? Am I fighting for something that makes sense, or am I fighting for something that is going to bring me pain later and turmoil and a lack of fun and joy? Because one of the things of creating a new life after divorce is never fun. But one of the things that does happen from it is that you're the creator who gets to design what the next step looks like for you. If you're a family that's in transition with children, you and your spouse will be doing some of that designing for the family itself going forward, and what that looks like in terms of, joint parenting, co-parenting, and having 2 homes for your children to appreciate going forward, and making them both of those houses initially feel like homes, whatever they are. They must feel like a home to both children, or to your children, both houses. So that's a joint effort. So the better we communicate, the better we stay out of this dense energy and position-based style, the more inclined we are, and the more we open up the energy to have an atmosphere that would foster that joint movement forward with regard to the family and what it's going to take looking forward or moving forward. So again, with the hypothetical house we have, if we're in that space and we're up here rather than in the dirt, we're up here saying, what are the options? There could be an option that we may not see, but somebody else in the room, another professional, the spouse in the room, somebody sees or thinks of something because they allow that inspiration in. Like, oh, never would have thought of that. That can work. And all of a sudden, there's another option out there, that it's not an all or nothing, that it's not coming from a place of I must have this from some unknown reason, and I'm committed, and I don't care what the outcome looks like, although that person will later, but they don't care at the moment. So those types of agreements or provisions that are created based in that space where the imagination is high and you're not stuck on anything, you're not in delusion, because in some cases, just the idea of one spouse or the other keeping a marital asset such as a house is, from the perspective of everybody, including them, it's a little bit delusioned. It's a delusion because it can never happen. There's no way that we can make this happen, no matter how we look at the assets and distribute them and credits here and there. No matter what we do, even if we borrow sometimes from family, there's the couple is not going to make that happen. So in that case, to continue pushing for something that's never going to happen, or if it happens, it's going to happen uncomfortably, and it's a waste of the time that you have together to make joint creative decisions that are going to be enduring and lasting and comfortable. Things don't have to be perfect, but they do have to be comfortable for both parties going forward if there are children, because those children have to live in the house with each parent. And if each parent cannot somehow, based on what they have after the distribution of assets or division of assets and the idea of support, and is there going to be support, and if so, how much, once all the dust settles, if both parents can't create homes out of the houses that they end up in, then it's unfair to the children, is it not? So it takes a complete system, not just our physical body, but it takes our entire energetic system. So in our case, we're just dealing with the 7 main chakras, right? From the root all the way to our crown. All of that needs to be lined up so that we can have the system fully running. And we are in that place that all of the things that we need to happen can happen. The way we communicate, the way we see the world, the way we can visualize something outside of the room that we're in, all of the things that we need to make aligned decisions from a place of clarity, and that we're making decisions that are in the best interest of our family. Those are the important elements of a settlement discussion. They're the important elements of parties in divorce, particularly with children who are going to move forward and have to learn to coexist and co-parent. It's the element to reach decisions that each party can live with. It's not going to be perfect. Remember that a collaboration or a settlement, collaboration is, I want to be sure that I meet your interest and you meet mine. And the settlement is some compromise that joins a meeting of the minds, that it may not be perfect for either party, but it is workable and both parties are happy with it in terms of moving forward, that there's not going to be a sense of buyer's remorse and wanting to change the agreement as soon as they start living it in reality. So when you're dealing with thinking of the third eye chakra, just remember think of that being that center of knowing, that inner vision. Go in and see what is there. What is it telling you? What do you see? What our physical eyes see is only a fraction of our higher truth and the truth of what's actually happening in that situation or in that reality, in that room. So it must be aligned for you. And so do what it takes to align yourself. Don't go into a settlement conference or have a settlement with your husband or wife or anything that is important, that there's going to have to be a decision made related to your divorce if you don't feel fully aligned. So I look forward to seeing you in part 7, where we discuss the crown chakra. But until then, know you have this. Know that all is well with your soul. And I will see you in the next video. Namaste.